What up, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of Dodgers Territory. In case you forgot, my name is Alanna Rizzo, alongside my co-host Clint Pasillas. So good to be back with you guys. Thanks for being here. Rate us 5 stars, like us, subscribe, all of the things. You can catch our merchandise. We'll talk about that in a hot second. We want to get to 15,000 subscribers, guys. Help us get there, won't you? Part of the Foul Territory Network. We're so happy to be with you guys for another off-season as we get ready for the 2026 season. Hopefully a three-peat is in the works. Before we get to the good stuff, Clint, let's catch up with each other and our fans on the big ticket.
Let's do it.
All right. Since you've been gone, or since I've been gone, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, I was fine while you were gone, but it's good to have you back.
You were trolling away, doing all of the work, doing all of the things. But since I was gone, I had a great trip. Thanks for obviously Scott Gearman and Jack Harris for filling in. Anybody else that I missed, thanks for filling in for me. So Miggy Rowe was the hero. Let's talk about the World Series real quick, because I was actually on a plane. I watched the majority of the game at the airport in Logan. Then I was on the plane getting text messages from Jill Painter Lopez. She was giving me the play-by-play of what was going on. And then obviously Miggy Rowe with the home run and all of the things. And I couldn't yell at the top of my lungs on the plane, but I was very excited. And what an unbelievable thing, right? It's so difficult to go back to back in this great sport of ours. And the Dodgers did it. And what else can you say about this team other than they're freaking good? And I'm so psyched for them. I think just watching what everybody was talking about, I feel like the parade this year in LA was better than last year's parade. And I'm just super psyched. Miggy Rowe, the hero, Will Smith, the hero, and more than anybody was your dude, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, the guy that you said, Clint, at the beginning of the year was going to be the Cy Young Award winner. It could have been. He didn't get it, but he was damn near, right? He was
I take a World Series. I take a World Series over that Cy Young.
World Series over a Cy Young, right? Just incredible. And I tried to send you guys a message from the plane. It didn't go through. Whatever. But freaking great. Congrats.
The important thing is, the things we talked about leading up to that Game 7. You're the person who kept telling everybody it's going to be great. Everything's going to be fine. It was stressful as shit, but everything eventually was great for sure. You mentioned Miguel Rojas with the heroics there in the 9th inning. Both sides of the ball in the 9th inning, of course, the homer, the very unlikely game-tying homer off of Jeff Run-Your-Mouth Hoffman makes that play to cut down Isaiah Kiner-Falefa in the bottom of the 9th to send it to extra innings. Will Smith is inevitable at some point, and then Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Whatever they're paying him, it ain't enough. Because my boy got the job done.
$325 million is not enough, huh? I mean, whatever. I tell you what, when Andy Pages caught that ball and Kiké Hernandez didn't know that he caught it, and then he was like saying, "Oh my God, I just lost us the World Series," and Andy's like, "What are you talking about, bro? I caught it." I mean, I was listening to Kiké on, I don't know if it was Mookie's podcast or whatever it was, but he was talking about that moment. No, maybe he was on Jimmy Fallon. That's where he was talking about it.
Yeah,
but
I think it was.
What an unbelievable turn of events. And again, it was like the 5th inning of Game 5 last year that kind of was like Game 7 of this World Series, where they had some defensive miscues and just, Jeff Hoffman. I don't think that it was a bad pitch. I just think that Miggy did a great job. It was a great at-bat. And again, kind of an unlikely hero in that moment. You think about the Dodgers roster, Clint. You think like, all right, I could see Freddie doing that. I could see Shohei, of course, doing that. I could see Will Smith doing that. I could see Max Muncy doing that. I could see Kiké doing that just because of what a postseason hero Kiké is. But it was Miguel Rojas. And this was a guy that we thought that was going to retire at the end of the season. More on that in a moment. But the fact that it was him, a guy that just really understands his role, to be able to come in to force the issue and force extra innings in a Game 7 of a World Series. I don't know that and I'm not just saying this because we're Dodgers fans, okay?
Yeah.
I think so many people, not even Dodger related, were saying that this was one of the best World Series they have seen in quite some time. That's all you want, right? You want it to go to Game 7. I know as a Dodger fan, you're probably like, nope, four in a row. Let's just get this shit done. But you want, as a sports fan, you want it to go to Game 7. You want it to go to extra innings. You want it to matter. And every moment you're holding your breath. And that's exactly what they got this year. I told you, it's going to be great.
It's going to be great. It eventually got great. The bullpen bottle over here, it took a couple of hits along the way and surviving that Game 7 and surviving the postseason. I mean, that's a lie. I didn't really drink during the postseason because I'm trying to make the show not god-awful. But they survived. We survived. The Dodgers did good. And like you said, now they're trying to run it forward, trying to run it back for a third time in a row. The other piece of news since you've been gone and since I was live on Thursday with Jack Harris, Shohei Ohtani, how about that? MVP once again. 2 years in a row as a Dodger. You get a title, you get an MVP. I can get used to that, Alanna.
I'm sure Shohei can get used to that as well. His 4th MVP award in 5 years, and all of them unanimous, as Alden Gonzalez pointed that out as well. But I mean, look at what he continues to do. It's just stupefying what he is able to accomplish. If you can throw that tweet from Alden back up, if you don't mind, all of what he's been able to do. He's the first player in all 4 major sports to win both an MVP and a championship in each of his first 2 seasons with the team, according to ESPN research. That's just dumb. It's like, it's not that easy, right? He probably just is like, all I had to do is come to LA. I mean, he has so many more supportive, much more supporting cast now in Los Angeles than he did in Anaheim. But man, he's good. I just don't want this to become a situation where it's just a given every year, right? It's like, oh yeah, Shohei, until there's another award or you allow co-MVPs. I don't know who else in the National League could have gotten it in comparison to Shohei. I mean, I think there was much more of a close race, obviously, in the American League. I still believe Cal Raleigh should have gotten the American League MVP. Not that I'm trying to take anything away from Aaron Judge. But Shohei didn't have a ton of competition, right? I mean, when you pitch and hit, it's going to be very difficult. If he does it at a quality level, which he did, and he did it in the postseason, 10 strikeouts, 3 home run game. I know the award is voted on prior to the postseason. But who else is ever going to win this award?
I don't know. I mean, at some point you worry there is going to be the whole voter fatigue when it comes to Shohei Ohtani. I was assuming there would be a little bit of voter fatigue with Aaron Judge in the American League this time. Thankfully not. I mean, he put up a phenomenal year. My vote would have went to Cal Raleigh if I was allowed to vote. I'm not that important. But until somebody else can pitch and hit at the level that he can, and by the way, he said after his MVP that he plans on being ready to pitch from the start of the year to the end of the year. He's going to be on that mound, hopefully going out there for 25, 30 starts. Until somebody else can do that, this is Shohei's award. And there's a good chance. I mean, this is a guy, Alanna, we need to ask the question. Is this somebody who is going to pass Barry Bonds on that MVP, all of the MVP trophies?
Barry has 7, right? Barry has 7 MVPs. I don't see how you can't. I mean, Shohei's still very young in his career. Barry obviously was, whatever you want to say about Barry Bonds, asterisk, no asterisk, asterisk. I think Barry Bonds was a Hall of Famer in Pittsburgh, even before all of the speculation and all of the giant shit and all of that stuff. Shohei Ohtani, unless something catastrophic happens, I certainly hope not. But as long as Shohei Ohtani is on both sides of the ball and performs even at a minimal level of what he's doing, he's the MVP. There's nobody else that can compete. And I know that Juan Soto was in the conversation, Kyle Schwarber, both good years. Schwarber, phenomenal, right? Soto, great. But they don't pitch. And until he's going to have like legitimate competition on both sides of the ball, I don't see how he doesn't, unless he has a horrible year either way. You know what I mean? I don't see how anybody else could win.
Yeah, if he's out there healthy and getting into 160 games, pitching at least 15 games, he's going to be your NL MVP for possibly the majority, if not all, of his Dodgers contract. And I'm okay. I'm okay with that.
No question. I don't, and again, until somebody can even come close to what he's doing, I think the award is A couple of other things that you wanted to bring up. If we talk about this, are we doing that now, or what are we doing?
How about this? Let's take a little bit of a break, and then we'll get into the real stuff. We've caught up. That's all we needed to do, right?
Good to see you. Good to see you. We're all set. I went on a safari. I saw some stuff. Dodgers won the World Series, and we're caught up. Here we are.
Yeah, you weren't trampled. That's the important thing, guys. There's still more Dodgers territory to come. But first, a word from our friends at Foul Territory.
AJ, we're going to do things a little bit differently here. I am wearing the Perfect Jean, and I remember seeing ads for the Perfect Jean, like most comfortable fit ever, perfect fit on your body, and I was like, I'm not buying it. Now, I'm buying it, and we're showing it off on FT.
Please get off my desk, first of all, Scott. Second of all, I was with you. I was skeptical about Perfect Jean, and then I got a pair, and the fitting was perfect. And my body's not hard to fit because I got a big old rear and big old legs from years of squatting, and they fit perfectly. They're stretchy, they're comfortable, they're fashionable. They're everything I look for in a jean, and now I have an extra pair, and I'm going to wear them all the time.
FOUL15 is the code at theperfectjean.nyc. FT listeners get 15% off your first order, plus free shipping, free returns, and free exchanges when you use code FOUL15 at checkout. That's 15% off for new customers at theperfectjean.nyc with promo code FOUL15. After your purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support the show and tell them Foul Territory sent you.
Welcome back to Dodgers territory here on this, what is it, Monday? I think it's a Monday. The 17th. If you guys are looking, as Alanna said at the top of the show, looking for a way to support us besides just watching, subscribing, clicking that like button, sharing to your friends, your grandma, your dog, check out the store, DodgersTerritoryShop.com. It is hoodie season. Alanna said it is cold as balls over there back home.
It's awful here.
Got to get that beanie going there. There's a whole bunch of stuff. It directly supports me, Alanna, the fine people here that put on a show with Dodgers territory, Foul Territory, yada yada. Scan that QR code, buy some stuff. Alanna, there's been more news since you've been gone and all that kind of stuff, and even since I was last live. Let's talk about the trade that happened on Sunday. The Dodgers make a move to essentially clear roster space on the 40-man roster, trading away minor league, well, I guess not minor league, 40-man reliever Robinson Ortiz, who they had just added to the 40-man roster. They sent him to Seattle for an off 40-man reliever, basically a lottery ticket, because they are in dire need of 40-man roster space, especially if they want to bring anybody back. And in a little bit, we're going to get into our off-season predictions, so guys, stay tuned and tell us how wrong we are. But yeah, the most important part of this move is, again, lottery ticket. You add a reliever, and it clears roster space.
This is not the leverage arm that they're looking for, right? Like, this is just somebody where it's like, we got to make some moves, because if they're going to do anything in the offseason, I don't know that it's going to be starting pitching wise, just because you figure that they're going to have everybody back, right? Hopefully. And we'll get into this about what we think needs to happen, and the closer situation and the whole Devin Williams rumors and all of those things. But this is semantics. This is just moving the pieces around. This is neither here nor there. I think we can move on. I really could not care less about this move.
Yeah, it's not going to be the move of the offseason, but it is definitely one move. And we also have breaking news from Scott Braun. He wears shorts most of the time.
Yeah, somebody just said that he probably wore shorts to his own wedding this weekend. I don't think he did. I don't think Emma would have allowed that. Maybe they were like tux shorts. But by the way, congratulations to my little brother Scott Braun and his beautiful bride on their nuptials. It's about damn time. We've known each other for 458 years.
Listen, you guys know my stance on marriage, but congrats to Scotty Braun there, and the new Mrs. Scotty Braun. That is pretty awesome. Hey, let's talk about your friend Kiké Hernandez. Had a little bit of surgery on that elbow.
A little bit. So what's funny about how this all went down is Dave Vassay was saying that Kiké was basically ambushed at the airport. So somebody recognized Kiké at the airport, which, I mean, I can understand why. He's very popular. And he was in a sling. So that begs the question, why are you in a sling? Well, he had to have off-season surgery. I guess he hurt the elbow early on in May, played through it, had to have surgery. So he's going to be fined for whatever team is his employer in 2026. Hopefully it's the Dodgers. More on that in a moment. But he's not playing for the World Baseball Classic, obviously.
Yeah.
Which is a bummer because Kiké is a huge influx of personality, and he is the biggest guy that you want in big moments, and the whole WBC is a big moment. So that's a bummer for him because I know he loves representing Team Puerto Rico. It's a bummer for the fans, but he obviously has to be ready for the regular season with whomever that is going to be.
I mean, does he? He needs to be ready for October. Let's be honest.
He does. He does. But I don't think you can just sign him for October. I've told you this 1,000 times. I'll say it 1,000 more times. I don't care if he's 0 for the regular season. I want him on my roster as anything, as a hype man, as a bench player, as a janitor. I don't care. But come the postseason, Kiké is in the lineup every day. Period. End of story.
Yeah, I do wonder if this is a move that changes his market. Well, let's talk about the ambush thing. I don't know if you saw the video, but there was just some random dude at the airport who kind of wouldn't leave him alone and like followed him around and up through the escalator and all that. That's like, bro, leave the man alone.
Enough.
For the love of God, leave the man alone. But beyond that, I do wonder if he would have posted anything about the surgery if that video did not come out.
Does anybody know if this was like a TMZ kind of guy, or was this just like a fanboy kind of guy? Like
I think
a grown-ass man, like running around another grown-ass man in the airport, which I will never understand that.
Yeah, I think it was more leaning towards grown-ass man than the professionals over at TMZ, but it was definitely giving big TMZ injury. It's worth noting the numbers for Kiké before that injury to after that injury, pretty stark. Small sample size on both sides. He did miss a couple of months on the IL with that elbow. I kind of had forgot that it nearly knocked him out for the season, but the big numbers there, the average was never good, but the big numbers, 741 OPS before that injury with a couple of bombas, 7 homers, 513 after the injury. There was something to that. I mean, it is your lead elbow, and if it's this extender tendon or whatever it was that was surgically repaired, apparently by the time he got to the end of the postseason, it completely tore from the bone, as opposed to it being partially torn through the majority of the season. He aggravated it in the National League Championship Series.
Well, I was going to say, I hope he aggravated it picking up the trophy. You know what? You'll take it. Everyone's hurt at that point, right? I mean, Kiké was legitimately injured. I mean, think of what Freddie Freeman played through last year. So I hope that it heals well. I mean, remember coming into this offseason or coming into the season this year, he had the groin, the sports hernia surgery and all of that stuff. These guys are not immune to going under the knife. That's just part of the drill, part of the game. But I don't know. I mean, does that change his market? I'm not sure. I guess it all depends on when he's going to be ready. And what teams need him.
Yeah, I mean, the Dodgers can use him. I said a couple of weeks ago that I don't think the Dodgers can re-sign both Miguel Rojas and Kiké Hernandez. Miguel Rojas has let it be known that he wants to come back desperately. I think they can find a way to make that move. I think they would have found a way to make that move happen already if there was any sort of space on the 40-man roster they can play with, but I'm assuming now, I kind of have the gut feeling now that Miggy Rowe probably happens closer to spring training after all of the pomp and circumstance of the offseason. We've seen it with Clayton Kershaw in the past, that kind of stuff. Give them some opportunity. I
agree. I think they wait and see how ready Kiké is. I don't, and we can talk about this later coming up in our Nostradumbass segment with you as the headliner of that, of course. I don't think that they sign them both. I think that they wait and see how Kiké heals. I mean, if Kiké is in their legitimate plans, I mean, both guys have said that they pretty much only want to play for LA. Miguel Rojas said that he wants to come back with an opportunity to three-peat. So we'll see what happens there. Before we get to that, though, this is an interesting closer market coming in. It reminds me, and I talked about this a little bit on Foul Territory. I was filling in for Scott Braun. I think this closer market, Clint, is very reminiscent of the shortstop market 2 or 3 years ago when there were remember when Carlos Correa, Trevor Story, Xander
Swanson,
Bogaerts,
I think was in there.
Yeah, Dansby Swanson, like 4 really, really good. I think Lindor was before that, but really high quality shortstop, defensive shortstops, all in the free agent market at the same time. I kind of feel like that is this year's closer market. Devin Williams is a name that continues to come up for a lot of teams, but I think it would possibly make sense for the Dodgers because I am sick and tired of the revolving door that is the Dodgers bullpen and the Dodgers closing role, which is such a different conversation than you and I had at spring training this year when we're like, oh my gosh, we talked to Kirby Yates and Tanner Scott and yada, yada, yada. And, we're like, wow, we have 10 closers. This is amazing. And then it was like, this is so awful. This is not amazing. Like nobody's working out. This doesn't work. We lose Evan Phillips. We lost Blake Trinan for quite some time. He came back. He wasn't as effective as he was in 2024 in terms of the postseason. Tanner Scott, we know he had that surgery, the whole thing. Kirby Yates wasn't as successful as we needed him to be. I don't like this revolving door BS. Mm-hmm. Devin Williams makes some sense to me. What about you?
Oh, absolutely. We know the interest is going to be there. We'll talk more about Devin Williams in a little bit. Spoiler, he will be part of Nostradamus there. But yeah, this is a guy that the Dodgers have been linked to him over the last couple of years. Obviously, there was almost a trade in place a year ago to bring him from Milwaukee to the Dodgers. Ultimately, they ended up going the Tanner Scott route because he was traded. Devin Williams was traded to the Yankees. Did not have a great season in New York by any stretch of the imagination. But I don't know if I buy in so much to the idea that they need a closer, but they 100% need high leverage, like somebody, a right-hander, a high leverage right-hander that can get the job done at the back end of the bullpen because, you mentioned Blake Trinan did not have a great season. He's getting long in the tooth now, 38. He'll be pitching at age 38 in 2026 in the second and final year of his deal, which is insane to look at the baseball reference of Blake Trinan and see that he's entering his eighth season with the Dodgers. Ludicrous to think of how long he's been here.
Crazy, really?
Yeah, it's pretty nutty. But I think this is more about they don't necessarily need a closer because I've said it and I'll die on this hill. Dave Roberts is a better manager when he doesn't have a closer, at least in the postseason. But they need somebody who can get the lion's share of ninth inning opportunities and is just plainly a lights out arm, which we know Devin Williams is because the All-Star berths, the numbers tell you that much. That airbender is disgusting and it still can be good, maybe even better in a Dodger uniform.
Amen. I think Devin Williams makes a lot of sense. And the reason is I think his performance or lack thereof in terms of production for the Yankees was an anomaly. I don't think the Yankees numbers this year, I think that was kind of, it was a down year. And I do think that there's something to be said about pitching in the National League versus the American League. I do think there's something to be said about pitching on a team where you don't have to be the man. You don't have to be, granted, he didn't necessarily have to do that either in New York, but I do think that Devin Williams makes a lot of sense because I like the price tag. I don't think he's going to be insane. Mm-hmm. I just like his stuff. I like his makeup. And I think he'd be a good fit in LA. I'm a little opposite of you. I do think they need a closer. I think they need somebody that is, you say the lion's share, I say you're the closer unless you absolutely need a day off because of workload or, obviously you don't need it's not a safe situation. So you don't need a closer that day, but I love it. Bring him in. Cool.
Listen, you're just saying that because the whole time you were covering that damn team, Kenley Jansen was nails. All right. At least for the majority of the time he was nails. It's definitely traditional.
My guy KJ74.
Yeah. Which, by the way, free agent, I don't hate the idea of him being one of the guys. I would like him
as a middle reliever, maybe like a 2-3 inning guy. He's not
exactly.
not closer anymore. But
breaking
I would love to have Kenley back.
Let's say spoiler, Kenley Jansen at least is not part of the expected bold offseason predictions, but let's say we get into some not so bold, honestly, offseason predictions with some Nostradamus. Still my favorite. That is still my favorite. I figured we could have some fun, two bold or not so bold predictions, because I say not so bold. I don't think it's going to be a very exciting offseason, at least not to the levels of excitement we've seen over the last.
But that's good, though, because that means you don't need a lot of stuff.
Yeah, this team is good, and that's another conversation we haven't had because you've been out vacationing and enjoying your life. But, this is a team that does not need a lot of effort. They could probably put the 40-man roster out that they have right now and win the NL West without much fanfare. I mean, yeah, other teams in the NL West is going to get better.
Let me ask you this. Is that with Sasaki as a starter, or is that with Sasaki as a closer?
Well, it's with Sasaki not in the rotation, them winning the NL West. I don't know that his future is in the starting rotation. That said, he will enter spring training in the starting rotation, or at least being one of the 5 or 6 to 7 dudes that this team will be looking at to pick up some big innings. I really don't know how that works out, because they have just an insane amount of talent in the starting rotation, even after Clayton Kershaw retired now. The amount of arms they have, it's pretty ridiculous. I have this one. This one's just going to be hanging around in perpetuity this offseason. Mm-hmm. But Gavin Stone is coming back from shoulder surgery. He was electric when he was healthy in 2024. Emmett Sheehan, we know he is very, very good starter. Mm-hmm. And you got those 4 dudes at the top of the rotation. I would love to see Yamamoto get a fair amount of break, but with Roki Sasaki, River Ryan, most likely to see Kasparius and Wrobleski go to the bullpen in some sort of role. Dodgers are in a very good position to not need a flashy or splashy offseason. They need an outfielder. This much we know. Actually, we got a super chat from the Truth Seeker Doc RB, $10. Thank you much. Saying welcome back, Alanna. Good afternoon to both of us. And wondering what the rumors are to improve the outfield, the bullpen, the defense. Hearing that maybe there's a Pete Fairbanks, another guy who's a longtime future Dodger. Maybe a Steven Kwan, maybe Byron Buxton in there. And getting into bold offseason predictions. I have no problem leading us off here. My number one is I do think the Dodgers trade for Steven Kwan. I understand Cleveland. They made the postseason last year. They're a good ball club. Their manager is a 2-time AL Manager of the Year award winner. But at some point, Steven Kwan's going to start costing more money. The Dodgers were already linked to Steven Kwan at the trade deadline last year. The Dodgers love to start doing their homework early. Cough, cough. Mm-hmm. The Mookie Betts deal that happened in 2020 almost happened in that 2019 at the 2019 trade deadline. We know there's interest now. Bob Nightingale penned a column about it last week at the GM's meetings. Dodgers need an outfielder. They needed a left fielder with plus 2 elite bat-to-ball skills, something Steven Kwan has. He's also an absolute demon in the outfield. They can use some left field defensive help. And we know this is a team that has the prospect capital to get a deal done. If it's 1 or 2 of the outfield prospects they have, or one of their guys, plus maybe an Alex Call thrown in there, a top pitching prospect, a lower tier pitching prospect, maybe Alex Freeland, who is still highly regarded on all of the prospects lists. They have the tools, they have the players, they have the talent to bring Steven Kwan here, who fills a perfect need for this team.
Let me ask you this, and we didn't talk about this, and I'm just throwing it out there because it's easy for me to spend other people's money. What if you moved Teo to left field? You moved Teo to left field. He's not a great right fielder, okay? Kwan obviously is better defensively. I understand that. But I will take Teo's power in the lineup, and you go out and you sign Kyle Tucker. Now, I say that because it's going to come with a massive, massive price tag, okay? Yeah. We're talking about $350 to $500 million for Tucker, which is insane. But he's young. He's good. I get it. He's a former Astro. Calm down. But, I mean, is that something that would even be on the radar? Does it make sense?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, to a degree. And this is with that caveat of it's not our money, because you're looking at a 10-year deal for a 28-year-old all-star outfielder with Kyle Tucker. But one of those guys, you mentioned Teoscar Hernandez. He will be off of the payroll in 2 seasons. They already opened up a butt ton of payroll this winter with Clayton Kershaw retiring. Obviously, Michael Conforto off of the payroll. Chris Taylor finally out from under that contract, so on and so forth. Almost $90 million free in payroll. They're kind of the most expensive they're going to be right now. You don't need to pay a lot of other prospects who are, getting big raises in arbitration. So if you're looking for somebody fitting that bill of bat to ball plus defender, Kyle Tucker is somebody who can play some left field, can play some right field. Ideally, they would land a center fielder. That's not necessarily the guy that's out there in this market. Mm-hmm. there is that factor though of can they convince Teo to move to left field? Like, I wonder if they would be more open to trading him somehow rather than that.
Maybe, but I think, he wants to be in LA. I think, as long as you're not taking him out of the lineup, I don't think he cares where he plays in the outfield.
Yeah.
I think deep down he knows he's not the best right fielder in the world.
I would hope. But hopefully he gets better, though. What's wild, and we've talked about this on the internet over the last week or two, because I asked that question, like, could there be a scenario where the Dodgers explore trading Teoscar Hernandez? But what's a wild situation with him is that he has good foot speed. He just reads baseballs poorly in the outfield. And doesn't really.
Well, you need that as an outfielder. You need to get good reads with the ball coming off the bat. You know who I would have loved for the Dodgers to sign is Jarren Duran. Now they can't this year because they signed him to a 1-year deal.
Trade,
but I think Jarren Duran, maybe. But I think Jarren Duran would have been really great pop in the lineup. He can run fast. He's a really good dude in the clubhouse. Not to say that any of our guys aren't, but I'm saying that if you're going to add somebody, you always want to know about the character of the person. And I think Jarren Duran's a really good dude. I would not be upset with Steven Kwan at all.
No.
But I just, there's other guys too that I would be fine seeing in the outfield.
What about a Belly reunion over Steven Kwan?
I don't know. I never know how that's going to work out. I would love Belly in center because I still love Bellinger's defense. He played so much better in New York than I thought he was going to. I didn't think that Belly was going to deal with New York very well just because he's such a mellow dude. And I know everybody says, because he's always stoned. But he had such a good year in New York in terms of numbers and the way that he handled everything. Like I wasn't sure how that was going to go, and it worked out really well. I don't know. You never know how it's going to be with reunions, right? Like, yeah. It worked out well with Kiké. I don't know. Like, would it be the same as it was when Kenley was here? Would it be the same as it was when JT was here if those guys came back? I don't know. Sometimes you can't go back home. You know what I mean? So I'm not sure. If Belly would have the same type of impact as he did. Like sometimes the team now is different than when Belly was here, you know?
An important fact though, that he doesn't need to be 2019 MVP Belly. He does not need to be 2017 Rookie of the Year, 40 homer Belly. He doesn't need to be that guy. They don't need that guy. They have other dudes to be the man. He just needs to be somebody who is a solid 5 or 6 hitter in that lineup, even as low as 7 if you really need it. But he can hit cleanup. He's a run producer. That Scott Boras is willing to do some sort of weird white man raps about him or whatever the hell Scott Boras does at this point in the offseason. Somebody needs to take the microphone away from that man. But honestly, I've said it before. Some of this is definitely rehashing things we've already talked about on the internet. Not that there's a whole lot going on, so there's going to be a lot of rehashing. I think I'd take Cody Bellinger on a shorter deal over Kyle Tucker just because of the shorter deal.
Yeah, that's of course, sure. I think Belly he's not that far gone from Kyle Tucker. He's not that far from what he used to be. But yeah, of course, the money makes a lot more sense. Maybe that's what you do. Maybe you figure it out for the next couple of years and then reassess. This team is very good. So there's really nothing to me other than the closer and the revolving door situation. Mm-hmm. This team doesn't have a ton of holes in my opinion. There is one thing though. This team is a year older now. Like they're getting older.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We all are. They are getting older.
Yeah. Age is a factor for sure. And they play a lot of baseball each and every year, starting with earlier seasons in spring training and playing into November this year. That is absolutely a factor. We're probably going to hear a lot of the conversation about World Series hangover early next year, maybe even through a lot of the season again, because we saw it this year. Hopefully they learn how to deal with that World Series hangover. But yeah, they are getting older. They are one season older. Freddie's getting older. You're starting to see some of the signs there of him not being the perfect hitting specimen that he was for the majority of the first 12, 13 years of his career. Still all very, very good ball players. And as Dave would say, to borrow from Dave, I believe in these guys. I have a lot of trust in these guys. And you find a way to supplement, the roster here and there. You have an opportunity in left field. You have an opportunity maybe with a closer or a bullpen guy. Devin Williams, much younger than Blake Trinan. At some point, they're going to need an heir apparent at third base for Max Muncy. They'll find a way. Ha-Seong Kim's young.
I don't know if Hesson Kim's on the team next year. Anyway.
Bold prediction? Is that a bold prediction?
Sure. I mean, he was he wasn't on a postseason roster.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
What are we doing? I mean, that tells you everything you need to know about how they feel about him. Like, I feel like he's an expendable piece. You know what I mean? Remember, he started the season in the minor leagues.
Ideally, he's somebody who fills into that whole rotation of utility guys. Could be somebody that takes, one of those jobs that's open right now from Miguel Rojas and Kiké Hernandez.
That's the thing, though. If we're looking at it, if that's his value, if that's who he is, I'd rather have Kiké Hernandez or Miguel Rojas, even at their age.
What about let's make that a bold prediction here. I had said 2 weeks ago, I don't think they would both be back. I don't think the Dodgers re-signed both. Where do you stand with both Miggy Rowe and Kiké Hernandez? Which way did the Dodgers go?
If Hesson Kim is on the roster, I don't think they bring both of them back. If he's not, I do think that they bring both of them back. I will say this, though. If it's one or the other, to me, I think it's Kiké over Miguel. And I know that Miguel, obviously Miguel with the World Series heroics and all of those things, but I mean, you're not in the situation that you're in without Kiké in the course of the postseason. And I know that Miguel said he wants to come back and have the opportunity to three-peat, which is different than what he said that he was going to retire. But I think I would love to see them both back. I think it happens if Kim's not on the roster. If he is on the roster, only one comes back, and it's Kiké.
Hey, competition, though. Hesson Kim does have options. He's somebody that could get a lot more playing time at AAA if they need it. We know this is a front office that wants to have wants to maximize their options on the 40-man roster. So that could be one of those things where they do bring them both back, and eventually somebody wins out on the playing time between those two and Hesson Kim. But between those three guys, one guy actually has something to prove. That is Hesson Kim. So exactly. And he has team control. I don't know. I think he'll be around. I think he'll be a factor.
I mean, if Miguel and Kiké don't get signed by another team and they wait until the end of the season, the end of the offseason like they did last year to bring Kiké back, it may be a situation of non-roster invite to spring training for both of those guys if they're not picked up by any of the other 29 clubs. And then the three of them battle it out in spring training.
Yeah, I mean, Miguel Rojas, I'm still going to die on the hill that he comes back. I think he means so much to that clubhouse. He means so much to the front office and him just being a vocal leader back in the clubhouse.
But that's essentially, they're the same dude.
They are. That's what makes this really tough, But
I love them both to death, but I don't know that you can have three utility guys,
Yeah, plus Tommy Edman. He's still going to be around. Yeah. He's having ankle surgery this week at some point. So I don't know if we actually had a fully bold prediction there, because that is a tough conversation for the front office. I'm still going to die on the hill that I had 2 weeks ago. As much as I want Kiké back, I think they go Miguel Rojas because it's 1 year over Kiké. And I don't think Kiké is going to want to wait to sign a contract until March like he did last year.
I don't know, but I think Kiké knows he's probably only going to get a 1 year deal anywhere that he goes. Yeah. So unless somebody comes up soon in free agency in the off season, listen, I love him. I just don't think that there's a billion guys, a billion teams knocking down his door. No. You know what I mean?
And that's a stark reality that a lot of other teams aren't in the same position the Dodgers are in to sign somebody who essentially is just an October player.
Correct.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's exactly right. If there's not a ton of teams that are like, oh, we're good. We know we're making the postseason. So, that's exactly right. So another point that you had, do the Dodgers re-sign Michael Kopech?
That's one of my bold predictions here. Not a lot of people talking about Michael Kopech. I'm going to be one of the people talking about Michael Kopech. I think he'll be back. I think it'll be a 1 year deal. Listen, he was really good when they brought him over after he was freed from the clutches of the White Sox in 2024. 2025 season, disaster. You cannot state it any other way. It was an absolute disaster. I think he owes them one. I think he would like an opportunity to actually pitch for this ball club again, something he couldn't really do. And they got into, 9-10 games, something like that during the regular season here in 2025. I don't know that there's a massive market out there. So I think it'll be a 1-year deal, maybe one of those 1+1s. But I think there'll be a Michael Kopech sighting at spring training because they need healthy relievers at the start of the season. They are going to eventually have a very, very good bullpen, but you need, Devin Phillips to get healthy by midseason and, insert other names here. It's going to be a lot like we dealt with last year. It's like, just give them time. Everybody will be healthy. Then it's going to be really good.
Well, I mean, we were healthiest when it mattered the most in terms of starting staff. This is what I think, though. I look at Michael Kopech the same way I look at Devin Williams. Devin Williams had a really down year for the Yankees. Mm-hmm. Michael Kopech had a terrible year for us. So perhaps, he has a bounce back year. Devin Williams has a bounce back year, and that's two really solid arms in that Dodgers bullpen.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, let's. We'll pull the wool over everybody's eyes, or the other way around. I'm saying that wrong. Anyways, the final bold prediction. Yeah, I do believe the Dodgers sign Devin Williams. I think everything is out there. The pieces are in place for him to want to come to LA. The Dodgers need him, can use him. If you can get better, if Devin Williams could get better by working with the Dodgers, pitching gurus, they need an eventual replacement, like I said earlier, for Blake Trinan, who has only 1 year left on his deal, but maybe they need a replacement at the back end of the bullpen for him this year because he was not great in 2025. They want him. They like him.
The bullpen as a collective wasn't great in 2025.
Breaking news.
They weren't.
Yeah.
They weren't.
They were
phenomenal in 2024 in the World Series and in the postseason. They were not good. That was the biggest question mark all season long was the Dodgers bullpen, especially towards the end of the year. They just weren't good. And there was that constant revolving door, which is why Dave Roberts should get more credit than he does because of the way he handles everything.
No votes in the Manager of the Year award.
I know. That is
not even a down ballot vote. That's so embarrassing.
Ridiculous. That's so ridiculous because everyone's like, "Oh, they're the Dodgers; they should automatically win."
People not being exceptionally happy about my Kopech re-signing. I will note, I'm not saying he's going to be re-signed to be a back end of the bullpen guy, a closer for this team. More so, a healthy righty throwing arm that's an option. Another guy who is competition. If he is outpitched by somebody like Evan Phillips when he comes back and is healthy in the second half of the season, or if Ben Kasparius outpitches him, if Anthony Bonda outpitches him, so on and so forth, those guys will get more opportunities. Mm-hmm. But
we didn't talk about this either. We didn't talk about this either. I'm super psyched that they brought Alex Vesia back. Good.
Yeah.
That's great.
100% needed to be back. That he is the leader in that bullpen, and you saw it by the World Series. It showed. His absence absolutely showed, just as a heart and soul kind of dude for that ball club. But there's our long way around some bold predictions. Hopefully people enjoyed that. Again, I don't think it's going to be an overly exciting offseason, so
doesn't need to be, and that's
doesn't need to be. Yeah. If it is a lot of re-signings, if it is Miguel Rojas and Kiké Hernandez and Michael Kopech, I mean, we should be excited if they land Devin Williams and are able to bring in Steven Kwan. But don't be mad when it's not the most exciting offseason. That said, I think we can get into last licks now. What do you think?
Agreed. Always. All right, guys. Thanks for letting me do this. I appreciate it very much. This is Trooper. He is adorable. He's not even a year old, but he's such a good boy. He's healthy. He's neutered. He's vaccinated. He's a sweetheart. He gets along swimmingly with other pups. He's good with kids. He was going to be euthanized at the shelter in Downey just because he had a broken leg. He's all fixed up. He's awesome. So if you're interested in adopting Trooper, please let me know. He's being fostered in Aliso Viejo, California, but he wants to go to his forever home for the holidays. So reach out, let me know, GaitorsGuardian.org, or hit me up on social. Before we sign off, Clint, baseball thought for the road. I don't know if you guys saw it, but recently the 2026 Hall of Fame ballot is out. There's about 12 new names on there, and former Dodger Matt Kemp is on the list. Your thoughts of the likelihood of my favorite number 27 getting into the Hall?
I would love it. He is not a Hall of Famer. Love you, Matthew Ryan Kemp. Not a Hall of Famer. The fact that he's on this list, one, makes me feel extremely old. That one I can't get away from, because I remember this kid coming out of being part of the Jacksonville Five that won the Southern League AA championship back in 2004, 2005, watching those dudes come up, make their debuts, him, Russ Martin, Andre Ethier, John Broxton, Chad Billingsley, watching those guys come up and make a difference for this ball
that's
club.
A blast from the past. Chad Billingsley. Good Lord.
Bills. He was somebody who was... But anyways, I don't know. I just don't see Hall of Fame credentials. Definitely an MVP. Robbed an MVP. But
well, no, that's exactly what I was going to say. I don't see Matty Kemp getting into the Hall of Fame, but I will say this: you better not let that motherfucker in. I'll tell you that right now. Because if it wasn't for him
on that list
that year, Ryan Braun's on the list. So if Ryan Braun didn't do what he did and lie about everything, Matt Kemp would have gotten the MVP that year.
Do you think there's more of a Hall of Fame case if he wins that MVP?
For Matt, no. I still don't think that he's an MVP just based on numbers, and I don't know. I mean, it certainly wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, maybe he's. I think he'll be a one and done. Maybe he wouldn't be a one and done if he was a former league MVP. But I don't think he gets the 5% vote. Not that there's a lot of I guess there are some pretty decent names on there, but. Matt,
I mean, like
for Matt, it's all about
it's all about on there. Jimmy Rollins is on there. I mean, they've been on before, but I don't know. I don't think anybody on that list actually gets in. To be honest with you, not via the normal BBWAA vote. I think as things expand and time, and there's all these other ways to get into the Hall now. Maybe Jimmy Rollins gets in. I don't know, but not just based on writers' votes. I don't.
Yeah, I agree, and. Feels like as good a time as any to hit that sign off button. Went on way too long.
Back with you guys. Yeah.
Sorry, Mark.
Whenever. Yeah. Anyway, good to be with you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Clint and I are back normal time on Thursday. We're back to our Monday, Thursday rotation in this offseason. Much more to talk about. I'm going to try to get a guest on, a player guest. Until then, go Dodgers. We'll see ya.
Bye.